In the description box down below, you'll find everything you need in order to get this free pattern. This is the template for our mini quilt. So I am just going to cut around the template. And we cut around the outside. That is your seam allowance. So you don't want to cut that off. When you look at this template, you'll see it goes from A1 all the way through to A13. So obviously we need to start with A1 and A2. What I like to do first is fold back this line here, because this is the line that we're just bothered about here between A1 and A2. So I'm going to get my piece of fabric. So this is my center section. It needs to be right sides up, and then my yellow section needs to be right sides down. So if you do have a print on that other section, that's right sides down, and then A1 is right sides up. These sections need to be at least 1/4 of an inch away from this line here, and it needs to be on the back. We always work from the back. And this is why I folded it over to help you out, Cassie. So see how this is 1/4 of an inch? Fold that back over, hold on to everything, and then you're going to sew all the way down here. I'm not paid nor sponsored to create this video. This is my Baby Lock Soprano. In the top thread, I have a Gutterman polyester thread, and I'm going to set my machine for a regular straight stitch, and I'm also going to change the setting down to a 1.6. In my needle, I have a Microtex 9014 sewing needle and just my regular sewing foot. Now, as you can see, I have my needle down, and I'm going to sew straight down this line in between A1 and A2. You'll have these loose threads. I recommend just taking these away every single time and keeping it nice and tidy. You'll have the 2 on the front and the 2 on the back. If you were over 1/4 of an inch, you can just take that off really easy. And then what you get to do is just push that fabric back just like that. So the next thing is to push it back over to the other side, and we're working on the A3 section. So we're going to once again fold that paper over, and then now this is too long. So we get our ruler, we line it up to the paper, and then we cut off that 1/4 of an inch. So that's all we've got. And then we need a piece of yellow that's going to be big enough to fill this triangle. So once again, I place my fabric right sides down, hold on to everything, and go ahead and sew across the A3 line. Make sure I've got my 1/4 of an inch. Flip this back. And then I am looking for A4, which is this grey section here. So I am going to fold this back. Always refer to the numbers, because I was expecting another yellow section, but there wasn't. So I'm going to cut this off. There's my 1/4. And I'm going to get a piece of grey that matches all this section here. Try not to skimp too much on your fabric when you're doing this, because I've been stung a couple of times when I didn't quite have enough fabric, and then you're unpicking and it's just a pain. So make sure that you have enough fabric to exceed this line here, and when it's flipped back, it needs to go over this portion here a little bit. We're going to flip this back, and now we're looking for our next section, which is back to one of these yellow triangles again. So I'm going to flip the paper back along that line, trim, place my yellow section down, and stitch right along this line. Flip back, find our next section, which is A6. fold over, trim, line everything up, stitch, once again flip back, and then we find out where our next section is, and it's A7. It's nice to go slow because it's easy to make an error. Take off the quarter. Make sure you have a piece of fabric that covers the whole area. Stitch. Then I'm going to flip this back. Have you made any of my other miniature quilts yet? Let me know in that comment box down below. Now we're on to 8, which is this yellow one here. Just going to fold this back, trim. Now would be a right time to tell you guys that I have over 500 sewing and quilting videos on my channel, so don't forget to subscribe. Place the yellow down and then sew. Now this section, foundation paper piecing is probably one of the most easiest things you can do. Place the grey down, stitch, once again flip back, and then we're looking for 10. Go fold this back and then trim, fabric face down, stitch, flip, see which is our next one, which is 11, fold over, trim, take our next section, stitch, flip over, see what our next section is, which is 12. I'm going to fold this over, trim 1/4 of an inch, place our next piece of fabric over, stitch, flip over, and now we're at our final piece of fabric for our mini quilt, which is number 13, and trim, line up our next section of white, flip over and stitch. Now flip this over, turn the whole unit the other side around, and just make sure that nothing is like folded over. Just make sure that everything is all flat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start cutting around the outside of our unit, right on the edge of that paper. I'm going to do that all the way around the other 3 sides. Just look how pretty that miniature quilt block looks. Now we're going to take out the paper, and this is really easy. You can just fold it over and then tear it out. This is what we're left with. If you've got any threads, just snip them away. I'm able to pull them out. Take this over to your iron and press. Don't distort the fabric. You're just going to press it down. Now get your backing fabric, get your batting and place that on top, and you're going to place your miniature quilt top on top of that. Take it over to your sewing machine, and I like to just do some decorative stitches in them seams. So let's get this trimmed up, and then we'll be ready to put the binding on. I wouldn't recommend doing your binding strip any wider than 2 inches wide. You're going to take it over to your iron, you're going to fold it in half, and then that'll be your binding. So what we're going to do is attach it. You're going to leave a little bit of overhang here, and you're going to do about 1 inch stitching down all the way here. Now as we flip that up, and then we pull it back down, and we sew all the way down our miniature quilt. And again at this corner, flip it all up, fold it back down, and sew down your miniature quilt. Again, flip it up, fold it back down, and sew all the way down your miniature quilt. This is your last corner. You're going to fold it, flip it up, fold it down, and you're just going to sew like 1 inch. The quilt binding that's on the right hand side, we're just going to cut just a little bit over halfway. I highly recommend that you get one of these. Like I said, I'm not paid nor sponsored. I'll put it in the description box down below. It'll be a link to my Amazon, and if you do decide to get one of these, I will get a small commission and no extra charge to you. So we get this left hand side and we flip it over right by the 2, and then do this out of the way, we cut. The one on the top is going to go up, and it's going to be right side facing up. The one on the underneath one is going to go from left to right, right side up, and you're going to meet them both. And what I'm going to do is put some wonder clips to hold that into place. I also like to fold my mini quilt in half, just clip, and I find it easier to work from the back. So what we're going to do here is this corner here, and then this other corner behind here, we're going to draw a straight line going all the way across. Once you have your straight line, just clip it into place because it'll move on you if you don't. Take over to the sewing machine and sew all the way across here. Then you cut off the excess. I'm going to take off the clip here, and it'll fold nicely down here. I swear that tool is so good. Now what you're going to do is sew all the way across here. Now I'm going to get my clips, and I'm going to start gripping to the back of my miniature quilt. Now you'll go ahead and hand stitch this. I hope you've enjoyed making this miniature quilt. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.